The superwoman myth has been used in a negative sense to label black women in particular. Rejecting that negative image of a black superwoman, picture yourself as a positive image as a superwoman sister. Where does your power come from? What is your purpose? And Lord knows what is your passion. Any first takers on that question?
The Lord is my strength. Who do I feel?
Take us to church, Sister Dukes. Anyone else?
I would just say that there is no such thing on the planet as a superwoman, and that you will die trying to be one. Look at the person next to you who you think has it going on, has all the material, whatever, living in a 3-car garage, dying on the inside. So it's that I think that we all get caught up in Superwoman, Superman, thinking that there is one, but you never know what a person is going through, and don't try to achieve something that is a myth. That's really what I would just, it is.
And that is the negative image of trying to be a superwoman.
Yeah.
But if there were a positive spin to it.
It would be, okay, can I tell you what the positive
Sure,
spin?
what's the positive
I'll tell you
spin?
what it is. And I work on this every day.
Okay, good.
Putting the oxygen mask over your own mouth first. Because you're on a plane, the flight attendant tells you if there's a need for oxygen, it'll come down. What you're supposed to do, put it over your own mouth first, and then if you got a small child sitting next to you or somebody acting like a small child, then you can. It's true. It's only then that you can really take care of yourself. So when you say no, first of all, no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
And when you say no to someone, it's not personal. It's a vote of yes for you because you want to live and you want to breathe. That's my thought.
So breathe, exhale.
Sister Nova, if I may, just real quick.
Yes, please.
You know, this whole thing about a superwoman, and I agree with that. But black people and black women in particular, we are strong individuals. We have overcome so much. We take very little and turn it into much.
Oh, absolutely.
And the thing is, we have to celebrate that. We should celebrate how strong we are, how creative we are. We are a tenacious people. We should never forget about that. And we should always remind the others of how strong we are. And we are survivors. We are survivors. The president didn't come up with yes we can. That was already in our DNA.
I just wanted to did Sister Vera want to interject, and I'll come to you.
Well, I'll make it very quick. We've always known how to turn lemons into lemonade, haven't we? Tickled me when in the recession, we're still in it, by the way.
Absolutely.
Where they'd have something on television telling the white women how to eat the food that's leftovers. They had programs, you take your mashed potatoes, you make pancake mashed potatoes. Listen, we know about spaghetti and using mashed potatoes and making pancakes out of it. What I'm saying is this. It's all right to celebrate yourself. I'm celebrating myself.
Absolutely.
And I thank God for it. 30 stores going into 50 this year, 32 years in business. I celebrate myself. And I thank you, women, because without you, I couldn't have done it. Because you were buying my product. Not everybody, but majority, because I'm a black woman and proud to be a black woman. And because of you, I am here today. Because of you, we might be going into Walgreens South Beach. Because of you, and I appreciate it. I could just burst. Because there's nobody but you, but it was God first. Because He directed my paths through this whole journey. It was an incredible journey that I went. 32 years in a matter of 3 weeks getting into Dwayne Reed. Is that not God?
Yeah, it is God.
Absolutely, absolutely. No pause, Mr. McCall. I just need a time check, and then we're going to Sister Terri Williams to respond to that. At the same time, to field questions from the audience. Sister Williams,
I just wanted to say what an incredibly, I knew that Vera was doing it, but it was such, just a little bit emotional for me, but when I walked into It was Dwayne Reed, or right? It was Dwayne Reed. When I walked in there and saw her space there, it was like, because she has been fighting a good fight for years. So it was a really, really proud moment. So I just wanted to say that.
Don't make me cry.
Don't make us all cry.
But what I want to say is, and this is just really, really important. Yes, we are nurturers and caretakers of everybody. But what I want to say is that there are so many diseases that we as Black women are predisposed to. Cancer, high blood pressure, strokes, heart disease. Those are things that we suffer from disproportionately because we hold our stuff in. Holding in anger and disappointments and frustrations, somebody breaking your heart, breaking your spirit. When you do not release it, when you do not talk about it, those are the things that make us very ill, disproportionately, because we hold it in. Because that's what we've been taught to do from days of slavery, is that you don't, if the slave master saw fit to do something for you, you couldn't do anything. The only way for you to stay alive was to keep it in. That's what's helped us survive then. It is the very core of what is killing our communities right now, because we won't go for help. We won't release it.
Well, we've been socialized in the church. Some men hang their hats on that scripture that says women are to be silent in the church. Lord knows if women were silent in the church, we wouldn't have any churches. Not I just had to follow up on that situation. And this is our last question, and you know, panelists, how we do it. I just want you to think of one word that's going to summarize everything that we've talked about here. Just one word. But first, I just want to field this question to Judge Kennedy. Does the notion of sisterhood mean that in order to maintain our femininity, we have to shy away from or avoid professions held by men where we exert power over others in order to maintain our femininity? Or can the sisterhood rock both power and be a feminine woman? Can we do that?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Thank you, Madam President. I do that every day, on the bench. It's interesting, getting feedback. It's interesting because many times when the attorneys or sometimes even the litigants come before me, I am not what they expect. Mm-hmm. They usually expect to see someone that's a white male and older, or a white woman, but many times it's usually, a white male. But the thing is, if you know that you know that you know, I'm all about the business, getting it done, but yet with a sense of compassion.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line.
A woman's touch.
Yes.
Anyone else want to respond to that, rocking the power and the femininity?
Yeah, I went into a job that had never been held by a woman, African American, or a white woman, to say the least. And I was appointed by the former mayor, David Dinkins. And some of you have heard the story.
Remember, yeah.
And I inherited all white males and Italian at that, because that was their world. Well, I tell you that I wore my St. John suits, my heels, and I would, Ed Lewis, former president of Essen, was the chairman of my board. I held myself in high esteem, the real woman that I am,
Absolutely.
Character, integrity. And before it went down, they all began to respect me. And let me tell you what happened 2 months ago. 2 months ago, when Blumberg, the mayor, did away with New York City.
Yeah, we think we've heard of him.
New York City on track Betty, a bill was in the Senate, and the people at what had belonged to two unions, DC 37 and the managers union, their insurance overnight was wiped out. They made some phone calls to each other, and one of the guys that hated my guts said to them, and the young woman, Mary Sweden, who was African American, had rose up in the corporation after I left. They called her and said, "Do you know how to get in touch with Hazel Dukes?"
My mind.
And they said, "Yes."
Look at that.
And so, P.S., a black woman, Lil Roberts, who's 80 years old. Any of you all know Lil Roberts?
her well.
Head of
Lil
DC
Roberts.
37. She, this black woman, went into the courts, took her lawyers, and went into court and got a stay for them to have their insurance.
Absolutely.
2 African American women who never gave up believing who they was, know who they are, saved the jobs, and most of those that they had to save because the African American was on the lower end. There was not even Lil Roberts workers. She had to save the upper echelons of white folks. And she went into court and did it with a smile. She was on a panel at Columbia Monday.
Wonderful.
With Dave Dinkins'
Sister Dukes,
leadership
we're
conference.
going to have to ask you to wrap that comment
And I
up
want
so
you
we
to
can
know
move
that
on.
they stood up, white men who came to that, stood up and praised her. So you don't have to be angry and give up your femininity. Just be what God made you to be.
One word, panelists, I know it's always a challenge. The theme of this conference and our discussion, and then we're going to see if we can squeeze a little bit of time for questions from the audience. Terri Williams, one word.
I'll just say strength.
Say it again.
Strength.
Strain.
No, S-T-R-E-N-G-T-H. Strength.
Strength. Okay, thanks. There's noise backstage, I'm sorry, competing with us. Sister Vera Moore.
I think the theme is love.
Okay. Judge Kennedy.
She borrowed my word, so I would say faith.
Faith.
One and the same.
And as should be appropriate, Madam Hazel Dukes, you get the final say. One word.
Humble.
Audience, we now give it to